Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Monday, April 7th. I am Bishop Darrell Watkins, the Senior Minister of the Sunshine Cathedral. With me today is Bishop Robert Griffin, Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, and Reverend Kevin Tisdall. We are the Queer God Squad. Visit sunshinecathedral.org to learn more about our progressive faith community and how you can be a part of it no matter where you live in the world. Watch our streaming programs, ask for prayer, make donations, follow us on social media. We'd love to have you as part of our community regardless of your location. And if you live in South Florida, be sure to check out the Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts, offering entertainment for the LGBTQ+ community to benefit the LGBTQ+ community. Queer God Squad was created by Hotspots Happening Out to support our mission to explore the value of faith in the LGBTQ community. There's no streaming TV show like this in the entire world. In 2025, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of Hotspots Magazine, the 5th anniversary of Queer News Tonight with nearly 10,000 stories and 10 million views in 2024. We will produce the 25th anniversary of Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th, Pride Fete Diversity Pride in August, and Pride Fort Lauderdale next February. We are part of the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media organization in America, and we encourage you to support our mission to inform, entertain, and educate our community and allies. If you enjoy the Queer God Squad, please share this or other episodes with your friends, family, and social media communities. This is the Sunshine Cathedral Perspective. Sexuality as part of queer spirituality. Peter Sweasey's 1998 insights still ring true today. In a 1998 essay, Peter Sweasey discussed sexual identity as part of the path toward spiritual discovery. Do his insights hold up some 27 years later? In 1998, it was true that religion by and large seemed hostile to LGBTQ people. Sweasey said, quote, "Just as religion rejects queers, so queers reject religion. Angry people, wanting to fight back after suffering years of oppression, find an obvious enemy in religion," end quote. Despite this mutual hostility, there remain many LGBTQ+ people, Sweeney had to acknowledge, who find both spirituality and sexuality to be sources of strength and joy. Sweasey learned from his research that for many LGBT people, sexuality wasn't a hindrance to a spiritual path, but was often the catalyst for spiritual searching. Moreover, many found embracing and appreciating their sexuality became part of their spiritual growth. Quote, "When you're confronting your own sexuality, you're confronting yourself at the very deepest level of your being, and it's in that deepest level of your being that your spirituality dwells as well," Sweasey said. He quoted lesbian Rabbi Elizabeth Sarah, "When people think of religion, they think of control. But the word spirituality seems more autonomous. It's about what it is to be human, what it is to be alive, what it is to be part of creation," end quote. He also quoted Chris Ferguson, a gay Buddhist. "Religion is trying to make you what you're not. Spirituality is trying to make you who you are," end quote. Sunshine Cathedral is more investigative than dogmatic, more spiritual, you might say, than religious. Perhaps that was bound to be the case for the world's leading queer church. We are here to discover and celebrate wholeness, and that will, by necessity, include our sexuality. That's what queerness is. It is about celebrating what has been overlooked or condemned. It is about reading life from the margins and celebrating who and what you are, even if that, maybe especially if that has been condemned by prejudice or bigotry, or if you've been denied your place at the table. Queer theory, queer spirituality, queer theology, queer politics isn't so much about negotiating and begging, working out, having a seat for the table. Queer theology is more about turning the table over, dismantling the table, breaking it to little pieces and using it as firewood. So that's what queerness is. We want to queer the status quo. That is, we want to disrupt the status quo. We want to bring difference to the conversation and celebrate that difference, and not try to blend in, not try to assimilate, not try to apologize, but bring all of who we are. And when we do that, that's going to include our physicality and our intellect and our emotions and all of that, our relationships, our sexuality, our bodies. And so that is probably our experience as a queer church, as a queer community, that sexuality isn't a hindrance to spirituality, it's a catalyst for it. It's a part of it, especially if we have become healthy in our concept of who we are. Then we recognize all of who we are is a part of all that is.
Yeah.
And that all that is more than the sum of its parts. We call it God. It is the larger life that we all share. But I am separated from that larger life if I try to fragment my life. And so the way I can experience the larger life more fully is by living into my life more honestly and more fully. And so, yes, I love the religion. Religion is about making you do something, and spirituality is about discovering who you are. It's change versus discovery. It's shame versus celebration. It's religion is social, whereas spirituality is personal and transpersonal. And so, yes, we are a community. We have ritual and traditions and a place to be and all of that. But what we're doing is we're trying to help people discover who they are and then celebrate that. And that is much more important. We don't have a lot of doctrine. We have, I hope, absolutely no dogma. There's nothing you have to do to stay out of hell or to keep God from being angry with you. We are here to discover who we are, to celebrate that, to help people have joy. Because happy people bring happiness to the world. And so we're trying to help people find their bliss, find their joy, find their truth, because the world needs that. As we do that, then we model that for the world, and the world needs that. The world deserves to be happy. And we're not going to be happy while there's oppression. We're not going to be happy while there's war. We're not going to be happy while there's lack. And so we need to figure our stuff out so we can show up fully, so we can help make the world be a happier place for everyone.
Right. There is a quote, and I would bet everyone at this table has heard this: religion is for those who are afraid of hell. Spirituality is for those who have been there.
Okay.
And if you're talking about queer spirituality, we've probably all been in that situation where things are just not as good as they could be. But if you're willing to do some hard work, if you're willing to look at sacred texts, and I'm not just talking the Bible, but other sacred texts, it is an incredible way to connect with the divine, with the sacred. And there are also communities out there like Sunshine Cathedral, but other communities where you can find that connection, where you can find warmth, where you can find joy, where you can find peace. It doesn't have to be all about religion. It really is quite a lot about spirituality.
Yeah.
You know, I think reflecting back, it's always about the spiritual journey, you know. And as kids growing up, we had what we had growing up in churches and the cookie box and all that kind of stuff. But I think at some point you really do get to a place to realize that it really is more about your own spiritual exploration, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what feeds you, what doesn't feed you, and those are the things we latch on to. And so and thinking about this particular perspective on this story, it's like life. It's like a box of chocolate.
Little Forrest Gump, huh?
Forrest Gump. You never know what you get until you bite into it. That's how spirituality is sometimes. Like, until you bite into what you think, know, or understand, you don't know what you're going to get that's going to feed you. So whether it's queer theology or feminist theology or womanist theology, whatever works for you, I particularly think that the theology of the Sunshine Cathedral worked best for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was Eric Rofes. He was a cultural studies scholar. He's dead now. He was an activist in the AIDS years and a queer activist. And I think it was Eric Rofes who, his book Our Tribe, I think
that was what I was thinking about.
May have been where I read this, where he was talking about, because he had been Catholic, I think, and he was talking about how the words "This is my body," take and eat, took on meaning for him. Finally, it wasn't just rushed up to great in a bathhouse, as he was taking flesh to flesh and admiring flesh and communing with flesh, that the words "this is my body," like a light went off for him. So that was an example of where the erotic became spiritual. And then we've talked in a recent show about an 18th century priest, Spanish priest, who had visions of marrying Jesus. This nuptial mysticism that wasn't uncommon. And so that is sort of an example of the spiritual becoming erotic. And they flow in and out. They're yin and yang.
Yeah.
The help me and oh God, and oh, that's great. That feels so good. These are things that you can say in spiritual moments and in sexual moments.
Yeah.
Like the vocabulary is identical. Because I think sexual energy, erotic energy, and spiritual energy, I think the energies are similar. And so yes, I think it's very natural that if you were to explore one, you would discover the other. And I don't think it matters which one you start with.
The church I grew up in, spirituality revolved around justice. The conversation was almost always, how do we achieve justice? I grew up in a time when the civil rights movement was extremely active, and we didn't talk a lot about sexuality. We didn't talk a lot about who you were as a sexual being. I knew who I was as a sexual being, and in talking to friends, I thought that being in the church wasn't fair to the church, that my sexuality was not something that the church would understand. So I walked away from organized religion and used to say to people, I'm spiritual, not religious. I didn't know what that meant really until I started going to a church where my sexuality and my quest for knowledge within the church melded. And I was told all of a sudden that it's okay to be who I am, and it's okay to go on that journey to find my way to peace, whatever peace might be. If peace was with Buddha, great. If peace was with God, great. If I wanted to follow my brother Jesus, fantastic. But understand that whoever I am, I was created to be that person, and I had to learn to accept myself before I could say that I was more than just spiritual, that I had a place in God's kingdom.
Well, that's today with the Queer God Squad.
Before we go, we want to invite you to join Sunshine Cathedral on a wonderful travel experience and help our mission for our community. Join us on the Florida AIDS Walk Pride Cruise. This unique 3-day cruise will sail from Miami on the $1 billion and ultra-deluxe 170,000-ton MSC Seascape on November 2nd, 2025. The cruise is for the Florida AIDS Walk. Your participation helps 13 vital beneficiaries in our community. The cruise is an incredible value starting at just $199 and is also a fundraiser for the Sunshine Cathedral. Parties, special events, and more aboard, including a special unlimited beverage and open bar with Wi-Fi for all 3 days for just $68. We invite you to join us on this amazing cruise for fun, this vital cruise for good.
Thank you for joining the Queer God Squad today. We are here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBTQ community is talking about.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's leading progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. Remember that. We all are in this together.
Also remember, you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.